Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, the food experience is back. And today's experience, I'm going to be making a complete Mexican style lunch or dinner, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be making some chicken soft tacos, my own marinade. I'm also going to be making some refried beans and some Mexican style rice. And the chicken, I'm going to be cooking in the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven. It comes out really good in here. And there's a lot of prep work to go. A side note to this, I have never made Mexican style rice from scratch, nor have I ever tried making my own refried beans. So this should be interesting. Hopefully it works out great and it will make an awesome experience. So with that said, let's start the preparation for the chicken marinade. For the chicken marinade, I'm going to use 6 ounces of pineapple juice, around a 1/4 cup of cilantro, give or take, about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, around 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, approximately a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of ground cumin, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of paprika, around a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm just gonna guess. I like a lot of black pepper anyways. Around a teaspoon of ghost pepper powder, about a handful of onions, maybe a little bit more, and about 4 cloves of fresh garlic. Oh yeah. And also the juice from 2 limes. I have them quartered, makes it easier to squeeze. Now go ahead and use a whisk or something like that and make sure everything's well blended in together. Next, I'm going to add some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I find that they cook a lot faster than using complete full chicken breasts. That ought to do it. And you want to make sure that everything's kind of submerged in the marinade. Now go ahead and cover it up with some plastic wrap. And you want to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. The chicken's been in the refrigerator marinating for about an hour now, and while that's still marinating for another hour, we're going to move on to the next step and prepare the refried beans. The recipe I'm using, I kind of scaled down from a site called 6sisterstuff.com. I will post a link down below in the description to the full recipe so you could check it out. They also used jalapenos, and I'm going to be using habaneros because I like it a little bit more spicy. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is use a little bit more than a 1/4 cup of pinto beans, and I'm going to put it into this colander. Then I'm going to go ahead and rinse these off in the sink. You want to rinse off the beans. I just rinsed off the beans, and I'm going to go ahead and add them to the Instant Pot. I don't have the biggest kitchen. I have kind of a small kitchen with no built-in appliances, so this is just perfect for me. Let me go ahead and take you down and show you what I'm putting in this. I'm going to go ahead and add about 1/8 of an onion, give or take. I diced up a couple of habaneros. Gonna add a couple minced garlic cloves, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a little bit of black pepper, a little dash of ground cumin, and a little less than a 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Gonna go ahead and give everything a little bit of a stir. Go ahead and put on the lid, make sure it's sealed, and then turn the valve to sealing and not venting. Next, we're gonna go ahead and set it on pressure cook, and I'm gonna add some thyme. And we're going to go for about 40 minutes. It calls for 45 minutes, but that's with a lot more beans. I have a feeling 40 minutes will suffice. Okay, it's on high pressure and normal. While the beans are cooking, we're going to go ahead and start to prepare the rice because that also does take a little bit of time. So let's get down to it. I'm going to be using some long grain rice, and we're going to go ahead and use some olive oil. Going to go ahead and turn on a medium heat. Now that the oil has had some time to heat up, I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup of rice. Kind of spread it around. Make sure all of the rice has some oil. And we're basically going to cook it until it browns, okay? Obviously my pan is a lot bigger than the amount of rice I'm using. I could have used a smaller one. And we're going to transfer this to a smaller one once I'm finished with this step. And what we're looking for is the rice to turn kind of a golden brown. It should only take a few minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and remove from the heat. I'm going to turn off my burner for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and add the rice to a smaller fry pan. Okay, so I got all the rice in this smaller saucepan. Flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to add half a cup of chicken broth. Going to add about an ounce of tomato sauce in there. Going to mince up 2 garlic cloves. Add a little bit of salt, dash of cumin, and some black pepper. Going to go ahead and turn the heat back on and leave it about 2 out of 6. And stir everything together. And you'll need to let that simmer for about a half hour, maybe a little bit more. And you do want to cover it. And I don't have any lids, so I'm going to use my large saucepan as a lid. And every now and then, occasionally, I'm going to stir it up. Okay, so time is up on the Instant Pot. Now what we got to do is let it wait for about 15, 20, 25 minutes for a natural release. You don't want to do a quick release. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at the rice. And it's coming together pretty nicely, I will say. In fact, it's just about done. I mean, all the water, or should I say chicken broth, has evaporated. I don't want to overcook it, but at the same time, nothing else is ready. So I'm going to turn the heat down to 1. And that way, it'll just kind of keep warm, you know. But you can tell it's pretty ready, you know. Has a nice color to it. There still is a little bit of liquid that I want to dry up a little bit so the rice isn't so moist. But yeah, that's looking pretty dang good. While we were waiting for the beans and rice to finish up, now is the time I'm going to preheat the Maxx. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on air fry. And I'm going to turn up the time just to allow for extra, since I know I'm not quite ready yet. And then I'm going to go ahead and set it for 370. That's what I'm going to cook the chicken at. And at the same time, I'm going to use the steak tray comboed with the drip pan, just like that. And I'm going to insert it in the air frying position. And let's go ahead and start it. Also, it looks like the rice is finished. It's no longer clumpy. Looks really good. I did a small taste of it and it has a really great flavor to it. And I don't want to leave it on the heat anymore. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put it in some aluminum foil. And then I'm going to kind of fold it up and let it kind of stay warm a little bit. Okay, the pin just dropped. I just heard it drop. Should be safe to open up. Let's go ahead and open it up. Alright, so that's what we're looking at. Most of the water has evaporated, which is great. Next thing you want to do is use a potato masher and mash the beans to whatever consistency you would like. And it may take a couple minutes of this to get it where you want it to be. And that's looking pretty good now. What I'm going to do now is put the lid back on it to let it keep warm. And we got some chicken to take care of. The Maxx has been up to temperature for quite a while now. You'll notice the air fry light turned solid. It's no longer flashing. And I went ahead and took the marinated chicken out of the fridge. We're going to open up the Maxx, slide out the tray a bit, and go ahead and put the chicken breast on. And you'll notice it starts sizzling immediately. Try to do it as swiftly as possible. I know it's going to take a minute to do that. Go ahead and slide the tray back in, let the doors close. And we're going to let it cook for about, I don't know, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to go ahead and check it out, flip the chicken over. And yeah, be right back. Man, that is smelling so good. It's just about done. 1 minute remaining. Then I'm going to pull the tray out, flip it over. The rice that I put in the foil is actually still pretty warm. But I may stick it in there like for like a quick minute or so. I don't know. Oh wait, there we go. It's done. Go ahead and open it up. Slide it out. I'm gonna flip the chicken over. I put the thicker pieces towards the rear and the thin one up front. And we're gonna go ahead and put it back in. And I'm gonna go ahead and set it for 4 minutes and hit start. And let her rip. Also, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna move one piece over and I'm gonna stick this foil packet of rice in best I can, just to keep it warm. It still felt a little bit warm, but not quite hot like when I first put the rice in. All right, time's up. Let's go ahead and remove the chicken. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the wire rack and put the rice in there just to kind of keep it warm. Chicken's looking pretty dang good. Look at that, nice and piping hot. I'm pretty sure it's up to temperature. And it looks like 167, perfect. 169, 170. Here's another piece, 166, 168. This is looking great. That way the chicken's not going to be all dried out. First, let's go ahead and sample a little bit of this. Wow, look at that. Nice and piping hot. Oh yeah, that's tasty. All right, I got it all nice and chopped up, ready for the tacos. Gonna take my tortillas and put them on a plate. These are kind of small plates, either that or they're kind of large tortillas. Should have got those little street taco tortillas. They're a lot smaller. Got a bunch of meat inside each one, and I'm gonna top them with a little bit of onions, cilantro, and a tiny little sprinkle of cheese. That's what we're looking at right now. Man, that looks good. There's a look at the rice and beans. The beans I probably could have added a little bit more liquid to, but that's all right. They should still be pretty decent. All right, so we are all finished. Wow, that was quite a process. So let's go ahead and try the rice. Wow, that's so good. A little bit garlicky. Try the beans. Could have mashed them up a little bit more. Not bad though. For my first time, everything tastes really good. Now let's try the tacos. With that, we got to add some taco sauce. I'm going to use some Tia Lupita while I have some left. It's a nice smoky hot sauce, and it's not even hot. I mean, it's more flavor than it is hot. Here goes. Wow, that's really good. Honestly, I've been to some Mexican restaurants and their chicken soft tacos are not nearly as good. The only thing different would be the beans. I think just a little bit more, either water or chicken broth at the end to kind of soften them up a little, also mash them a little bit more. Would have been better for me, although you guys might like it the way it is. Some people like big chunks of beans in their refried beans, and other people like it totally smooth. So kind of a personal preference thing, you know. But I'll tell you what, the marinade for the chicken, spot on good. All the seasonings I use for the rice and the beans, spot on good. I totally recommend making this. If you're into Mexican food, you're truly going to enjoy what I made here. Also, a big shout out to all the folks in the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven group. You guys will see this video. I post everything in the group. I love that group. I love hanging out there, being there. Really enjoy helping people overall. That's what I do. So with that said, I think we're going to tow this one out of here and I can eat the rest in peace. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please drop me a note down below and I'll be glad to get back to you. I love interacting with you guys. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I got all kinds of good things in the works. So with that said, have a stellar day. Be excellent, and most of all, remember me. I'm KJ Andio, your food experience host with the most. Y'all take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.